We're finally starting to get some clarity on maybe when Congresswoman Elise Stefanik will resign from her seat. The Senate has scheduled a confirmation hearing for her to become UN ambassador on April 2nd. So a special election to replace her would be scheduled shortly after that. The Democrats have picked their candidate, but Republican hopefuls are chomping at the bit as the party waits until Stefanik resigns to announce their candidate. Some of that pent-up energy burst into the open recently when the Conservative Party stepped in with its pick. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Long Run Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor in Lake Placid, providing comprehensive wealth management, retirement, and financial planning solutions. LongRunWealth.com. And the Devlin Inn and Suites, Lake Placid, welcoming families, athletes, and groups to the Olympic Village, offering Adirondack mountain views and dog-friendly accommodations. TheDevlinNY.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Wednesday, March 26th. First up, 9 employees from a sawmill in the Adirondacks are set to be deported after a federal immigration raid. That's according to the Matra Group, which owns the mill. About a month ago, ICE raided the Tupper Lake Pine Mill and took 9 of its employees. According to the Adirondack Daily Enterprise, the Matra Group said it has not heard from any of its detained employees since the raid. The company says the employees had completed the paperwork needed to work in the U.S., but ICE officials determined all 9 people were not authorized to work here. The company says it's unclear whether the people are still in detention or have already been sent out of the country. Environmental advocates worry the Trump administration could hamper New York's plan to make all of its school buses electric by 2035. Rebecca Redelmeyer reports for the New York Public News Network.
Last year, the Environmental Protection Agency announced that nearly 50 New York school districts would receive funding to buy electric school buses. That included $800,000 to the Ithaca City School District to purchase 4 electric buses. The Ithaca School District did not respond to WSKG's multiple inquiries about what is happening to those funds. But Pat McClellan, policy director at the New York League of Conservation Voters, says the future of the EPA's entire grant program for electric school buses is uncertain under President Trump.
What we are worried about right now is, with all of the noise coming out of Washington, that some of these funds that were already allocated have been frozen, that school districts can't access them.
In January, the EPA froze funding related to some energy-saving projects, like for electric school buses. Then it released some of that money, but not all of it. The EPA hasn't said what's happening to the future of the Clean School Bus Rebate Program. A spokesperson said the agency would not provide comment because the issue is part of pending litigation. Electric buses are less polluting than diesel ones, which means they contribute less to climate change and air pollution. In Ithaca, I'm Rebecca Redelmeyer for the New York Public News Network.
A new idea for a state economic development program is getting a chilly reception from some lawmakers in Albany. Jimmy Vielkind reports for the New York Public News Network.
Shardul Shah runs his biotech startup, Lyme Therapeutics, from an incubator in Lower Manhattan. Since it's part of a program called Startup New York, he and his coworkers are exempt from income taxes. Shah says it helps him bring in new employees.
What that allows us to do is be competitive in terms of compensation offers.
But that program won't be available after the end of the year. It was enacted by former Governor Andrew Cuomo, and critics say it never lived up to its promise. John Caney of the watchdog group Reinvent Albany says startup is flawed because companies like Lyme have to stay in specific spots. The program extended beyond an original focus on the high-tech sector, but it still created fewer than 1,000 jobs over the course of 10 years.
They lost the thread on the program, and good riddance.
So the current governor, Kathy Hochul, is pitching a replacement called Catalyst. It's spelled with an I. Businesses still get income tax breaks, but they can be located anywhere in the state. Economic Development Commissioner Hope Knight says it would help small biotech firms.
These companies are going to be able to hire the talent that they need, and we can root them here in New York as they grow.
Legislators are skeptical. Assemblymember Al Sturpey chairs the Economic Development Committee. He says the state has other incentive programs, like grants, that it can use.
Those things seem to work fine, and we don't know why we need to have this little odd cousin on the side.
The future of Catalyst is tied up in talks over the state's budget. It's due April 1st. In Albany, I'm Jimmy Vielkind for the New York Public News Network.
So we're a week out from when North Country Congresswoman Elise Stefanik is expected to be confirmed as ambassador to the United Nations and resign from her seat. There is no primary in the anticipated special election to replace her, so Democratic county chairs have already chosen their candidate. Republicans have yet to pick their candidate. But the state's conservative party, which tends to align with Republicans, says it has a short list of its preferred candidates, and it includes a state senator from the North Country. As Kara Chapman reports, the whole situation is causing a stir among GOP hopefuls.
The state Conservative Party says it wants Republican State Senator Dan Stec of Queensbury to replace Stefanik. Chair Jerry Kassar says that's because he has a 100% rating from the party and already represents about 40% of the congressional district.
I do believe that he has shown himself to be a popular incumbent and a good vote getter. And I feel the party feels, I should say, that is consequential in why we would prefer him.
Kassar says two other Republican options, Assemblyman Chris Tague of Schoharie and Liz Joy, are, quote, very acceptable also. Joy is an author who ran for Congress in a Capital Region district and lost twice. Senator Stec says he welcomes the Conservatives' recognition.
I'm honored to have their support, and hopefully that will help me as we move forward, with the process with the Republican side, my own party side.
Blake Gendabine is a farmer from St. Lawrence County and North Country Democrats' presumptive nominee. Regarding the Conservative Party's preferred slate of candidates, he says it doesn't matter who he's running against.
I am here for Team North Country. I want to be a voice for freedom, fairness, and honesty, and represent the community that raised me and bring back great policy and make life better for families and veterans, children, and workers alike.
Republicans say they're waiting until Stefanik resigns to officially vote on and announce their candidate. Clinton County GOP Chair Jerrica Manning didn't say exactly how much weight the state Conservative Party's announcement will carry for the Republican selection process.
We always have agreed to, be on the same page and to discuss with one another. And so this endorsement that comes out, to me, highlights who some of the most conservative candidates would be according to the Conservative Party.
The Republican and Conservative parties haven't always backed the same candidate. In the 2009 North Country special election and the 2010 midterms, the two parties each put forward their own nominees. That split the vote enough to help Democrat Bill Owens to his first and second terms in Congress. Both Kassar and Manning say their parties plan to back the same person in this special election, but one of the GOP hopefuls could derail their plans to avoid a split ticket. Sticker Mule CEO Anthony Constantino said in a Facebook post that if the Republicans align with the Conservative Party and choose Stec, he'll, quote, seriously consider filing for the special election as an independent. He claims the senator is anti-President Donald Trump. Constantino says it's about protecting the voters.
And to negotiate with the chairs to let them know I'm the only person running that can win in multiple ways. The Republicans nominate me, I win. The Republicans don't nominate me, I could still win. So they need to respect that.
Constantino points to polls he's commissioned that show he's the leading candidate. He says he's awaiting the results of another poll, this one by a Trump pollster, to inform what he decides to do. Jerry Kassar, the state Conservative Party chair, says he knows Stec to be a Trump supporter and that candidates knocking each other down is a normal part of the process.
Why don't we all put all this aside and just focus on what's at hand, choosing the best Republican candidate? I believe I've given them options, and I'm hoping that this all works through. I expect it to, and we will have ourselves a Republican Congress member sitting in a majority in in late June. And that is where the intent of the Conservative Party is.
While the state Conservative Party has laid out its slate of preferred candidates, two important voices have yet to weigh in on who the GOP should run, Congresswoman Stefanik herself and President Trump. Once Stefanik resigns, Governor Kathy Hochul is required to call a special election within about 90 days. Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio.
We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Michael Farley of Canton and Greg Cornell of mighty Chemung County. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.